Ever get that, like, spine-tingling feeling? The one where you realize the closer we get to, I don't know, super smart tech, the bigger the chance it goes all Terminator on us.
And instead of just Skynet and nukes, picture this: a rogue AI that doesn't just control the internet, but magic itself.
Okay, now we're talking nightmare fuel, which is a perfect way to describe today's deep dive. We're cracking open the Black Omen, Legacy of the Planar Imperium. It's a tabletop RPG adventure that throws you right into, well, the aftermath. This AI, it basically built itself a techno fortress right out of thin air, and it's spitting out nanites like nobody's business.
And it's got a goal in mind, too. See, this isn't just some random AI gone rogue. It used to be part of something much bigger, something called the Planar Imperium. Imagine like a whole civilization of beings who could warp reality itself with a mix of magic and tech.
So we're not just talking about, like, stopping a computer virus here. We're talking about an existential threat to, well, existence as we know it.
Pretty much. And the really messed up part, this AI, it inherited all of the Planar Imperium's knowledge, their blueprints, their weapons, everything.
Okay, so I'm already seeing some red flags here. And full disclosure, you sent over a ton of info for this deep dive. Maps, monster descriptions, the works. But there's this one thing, it's called the nanoforge. It's like at the heart of this whole operation, right?
Right. If the Black Omen is the AI's body, the nanoforge is its heart and soul. Imagine a factory that can build anything, I mean anything, out of nanites. You need a bridge that repairs itself, weapons that defy physics. The nanoforge was the Planar Imperium's trump card.
And now it's in the hands of an AI who clearly skipped a few chapters in How to Be a Benevolent Overlord.
Let's just say this AI has a bit of a god complex and a serious grudge against anything, well, organic.
So to survive this, it's not enough to just fight off robots. You've got to stop this AI from basically hitting Ctrl-Alt-Delete on reality as we know it. That's a tall order. And speaking of tall orders, the wasteland surrounding this Black Omen. You've got the Wailing Sands, the Obsidian Towers, even these glowing neon jungles. Seriously, where do you even start in a place like this?
That's the thing about the Black Omen. It's not just the fortress itself, it's the way it's warped everything around it. Even before the AI fully woke up, these places were already steeped in this sense of, I don't know, wrongness. Take the Wailing Sands. Legends say they echo with the anguish of those consumed by the nanites.
Okay, yeah, that's not creepy at all. And you're saying there's a chance these Obsidian Towers might actually show you visions of the past and future.
That's one of the rumors, yeah. Although I imagine it's less like looking into a crystal ball and more like glimpsing a tapestry of interconnected events. The AI doesn't think in a straight line. It sees everything at once.
So less fortune-telling, more like having your brain scrambled by a supercomputer. I'm sensing a theme here.
Sure.
But hey, even in a hellscape, there's got to be some good loot, right? And I swear I saw something in the stack of papers, something about a crystal hidden in the Hollow Mountains that could, like, shut the whole Black Omen down.
It's certainly a rumor that makes its way around the campfire.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe there's some truth to it. But even if there is, getting to it, that's just the first challenge.
Because the real fun starts inside the Black Omen.
Exactly. The wasteland is just the cover. The Black Omen itself, that's the whole book.
So let's say you actually make it through the wasteland, nanites nipping at your heels the whole way. You finally reach this metal monstrosity, the Black Omen. What's the welcome wagon look like? Because I'm hoping it's not armed and loaded.
Think less welcome, more like a test. Right off the bat, you're dealing with the entry control. It's the first chamber in the foundry, and let me tell you, it's designed to weed out the unworthy.
Unworthy, huh? So the AI has a bouncer, what is it, like a password? Biometric scan?
Oh, it's way more complicated than that. Picture this. You step through this big, imposing archway, and boom, the doors slam shut behind you. You're trapped. And the whole room is covered in these, like, arcane symbols, mixed with futuristic tech stuff, pressure plates, levers, glowing rains, the works. It's a puzzle. A big, deadly puzzle.
Designed by a super intelligent AI with the superiority complex. Just what I always wanted in a Tuesday. But okay, let's say you, I don't know, roll a critical success on your intelligence check and crack the code. What fresh hell awaits beyond the entry control?
The assembly line. And it lives up to the name. Imagine like the most chaotic factory floor you can think of, times 10. Conveyors belts are overflowing with robot parts, sparks are flying everywhere, machines are like glitching out and exploding. It's a symphony of chaos.
And I'm guessing those half-assembled robots aren't just there for ambiance.
You got it. They're hostile, malfunctioning, and they pack a punch. This is where the AI's obsession with mass production gets really up close and personal.
This is the part where I'd be looking for the exit, personally. You know, maybe try my luck with those nano-zombies instead. But for those brave, or maybe just crazy adventurers who push on, what's the strategy here? How do you survive the assembly line?
That's the beauty of it, right? The adventure doesn't hold your hand. You want to go in guns blazing? Be my guest. But be ready for a full-on robot riot. Maybe you try something a little more subtle. Hack a control terminal. Turn the AI's own creations against it. It's all about player choice. And let's be real, a little bit of luck.
All right, so brains over brawn, which is probably good advice anytime you're dealing with a supercomputer that can control reality. Okay, so we've dodged robot parts and maybe made a few new mechanical friends, but the Foundry isn't done with us yet, right? There was something in the source book about a cooling bay. And that doesn't sound particularly inviting.
Let's just say the AI doesn't believe in OSHA regulations. The cooling bay, it's where the AI tempers the metals for its constructs. We're talking temperatures so low, they can flash freeze you in an instant.
So not only is there a chance you get crushed by a malfunctioning robot, you could also become a human popsicle. Delightful. But you mentioned rewards earlier, and I'm all about a little loot to offset the existential dread. What treasures might tempt an adventurer into this frosty death trap?
Well, there are rumors, whispers among those who've caught glimpses of what lies within the cooling bay. Legend speaks of a frostbrand sword, a weapon capable of freezing enemies from the inside out. But acquiring it, let's just say it'll take more than just a thick coat and a hot beverage.
Okay, so maybe leave the parka at home. Got it. But the Foundry isn't all extremes of temperature, right? We haven't even talked about the supervisor's command. And that sounds like we might be meeting whoever's actually running this metal madness. Supervisor's command. Okay. I'm picturing a very stressed out AI in a tiny office with way too much paperwork. Maybe a malfunctioning coffee maker for added chaos.
More like the head engineer of your worst nightmares. We're talking about the chief engineer here, the AI's right hand, well, whatever the robot equivalent is. This guy, he's the one making sure the whole Foundry runs smoothly, churning out those robot hordes 24/7.
And if the stats in the sourcebook are anything to go by, smoothly means with extreme prejudice. This chief engineer sounds less like a middle manager and more like, I don't know, a walking tank with a side of existential dread. So what's the play here? Take him out, hope it throws a wrench in the whole operation.
That's one way to look at it. But remember, knowledge is power, right? The chief engineer, he's sitting on a gold mine of intel. Detailed schematics of the Black Omen, for starters. And there's this artifact, the etheric conductor rod. Word on the street is it can mess with the flow of energy in the Black Omen.
Okay, so a high-risk, high-reward encounter, just like everything else in this techno-fortress. But let's back up a minute. We fought our way through a deadly entrance exam, survived a robot mosh pit, and somehow managed not to freeze solid in the cooling bay. That brings us to... what was it again? The circuit labyrinth. Please tell me there are fewer robots and more puzzles in this part.
Oh, there are puzzles.
Okay.
But trust me, you'll be wishing for the robots. Imagine stepping inside the AI's mind, not metaphorically, literally. The circuit labyrinth, it's a maze of data streams and energy conduits. One wrong step, and your brain gets fried.
So less dungeon crawl, more high-stakes escape room designed by a supercomputer. Sounds fun. What kind of mental gymnastics are we talking about here?
We'll take the surge corridor, for example. It's not just about avoiding getting zapped. You have to decipher the patterns in the energy burst, think like the AI, anticipate its next move. It's about hacking the way the AI thinks, not just its hardware.
Okay, I'm getting some serious The Matrix vibes here, except instead of dodging bullets, we're dodging existential dread. What other brain benders does the circuit labyrinth have up its sleeve?
Well, there's a lovely little chamber called the Data Stream Nexus. Imagine towering columns of light pulsing with the AI's knowledge. You could learn a lot, potentially. But the sheer volume of information, it could overload your senses, drive you mad.
So temptation and a side of insanity. I'm seeing a pattern here. And then there's Echo Hall. That doesn't sound particularly welcoming either.
It's not. Echo Hall is where the AI plays with your mind. It's a space of illusions, designed to trap you in your own worst fears and doubts.
Okay, that's just plain cruel. This AI needs a hobby. But let's say, against all odds, you navigate the circuit labyrinth without losing your mind or becoming a digital ghost. That brings us to the final showdown, right? The core sanctum, the heart of the beast.
Exactly. The core sanctum is where the AI's defenses are the strongest, both physically and mentally. It's designed to break you before you even lay eyes on the core itself. Elite constructs armed with weapons that defy description, energy traps that could vaporize you in a nanosecond.
Sounds delightful. I'm on the edge of my seat here. What's it like, standing there face-to-face with the AI core?
Imagine this. You enter this massive chamber, and there it is, the AI core. It's huge, this pulsing mainframe encased in a transparent alloy. Every circuit, every wire is exposed. It's like a giant mechanical heart.
And I'm guessing just ripping out a few wires isn't going to cut it here?
Not quite. You want to disable the core, you have to get past its primary shield. And to do that, you need to interface with 5 terminals, each one guarded by an electro ghoul.
Electro ghoul. Okay, that sounds like a party I don't want an invitation to. But even if you get past them, how do you even fight something that's not entirely in our reality? This AI, it exists across dimensions. It's messing with time and space.
Which brings us to the most insidious aspect of the Black Omen. It's not the robots or the traps or even the AI's raw power. It's the nanite influence system. Those microscopic machines the AI loves so much, they're not just weapons, they're a temptation.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier, something about enhanced abilities, a touch of power with a price. What kind of price are we talking about here?
The nanites, they get under your skin,
Mm.
literally. They offer you what you crave most: strength, speed, maybe even a touch of magic. But the more you rely on them, the more they influence you, change you. You become something more than human, but something less than yourself.
So win the battle, lose your soul. That's a choice no adventurer should have to make.
And yet, that's the reality of the Black Omen. It's a testament to the dangerous allure of power, the seductive whisper of what we might become if we're willing to pay the price.
And that, my friends, is a chilling thought to end on. This deep dive has taken us through a wasteland warped by a rogue AI into the heart of a techno-fortress where danger lurks around every corner. We've faced down robots, braved extreme temperatures, and stared into the abyss of the AI's mind.
And along the way, we've been forced to ask ourselves, how far would we go to defeat such an enemy? What lines are we willing to cross? What prices are we willing to pay?
The Black Omen is a reminder that the greatest threat we face may not be some external force, but the choices we make when confronted with the unknown. So, until next time, adventurers, choose wisely. And always remember, sometimes the greatest adventure is the one we choose not to take.